Righto, tell you there champs, today we're going to have a look at a motherboard, and what's special about this motherboard, or unique should I say, not special but unique, is this is a B760-F. So what that means is this motherboard is not a Z790, this is one of the B, so it's, I don't know what B stands for, but maybe it's budget. It has a different chipset to the Z790, or should I say Z for Americans. So this motherboard is going to come in at a cheaper price than the Z790 motherboards. Now, what are you missing compared to the Z790s? Well, in this case, not much. Seriously, not much. You can't overclock. That's one thing you're missing. Also, a Z790 motherboard has 28 lanes of PCI Express. This one has 14 lanes of PCI Express. But the thing is here, you're not missing really anything on it. You have here PCI Express 5, 16 lane GPU slot. So you got PCI Express 5. Now, one thing that surprised me is it actually has 3 M.2s on here. I thought compared to a Z790, you're going to be missing some, PCI Express lanes that you won't have as many M.2s, but it has 3. Now, none of them are PCI Express 5, but they're all PCI Express 4. Support for DDR5 7800. Now that is, overclocked, of course. So you're going to be able to use the fast RAM. And here's the deal. If you're not someone that's going to overclock, save yourself some money. You got 3 M.2s, you got, PCI Express 5 for your graphics card. You even have, RGB as well, which some motherboards are missing at this sort of price point. And you've got Wi-Fi 6E and 2.5 gig networking. So really, the only thing missing is really just overclocking. Are you someone that's going to overclock? I don't know. And here's me, look, I buy the cheapest Asus motherboard, always have, unless I've needed a faster one, right? And they can overclock to the max, these ones, right? The cheapest Asus motherboards can overclock. The only time I get something more expensive is, say for example, I need something, right? So this is AMD system, but it doesn't matter. The reason you would pay more for this is because you want 10 gig network and you want more ports, etc. And that's the thing, if you want a nice, build, maybe you get a more expensive motherboard. But what's so amazing about these Asus motherboards is you can buy the cheapest one and overclock it. So the cheapest Z690 or Z790, whatever, and you can overclock it to the maximum potential of that chip. You do not need to buy the most expensive motherboard. That's why I buy Asus. They have the best BIOS, and just look, they never let me down, Asus, so I'm always going to buy Asus until they let me down. So this goes one step further. Instead of getting the cheapest Z790, get a B760 because it's going to be cheaper. The only thing is you just can't overclock. That's basically it. That's all you need to know, is this is going to be as good as a Z790, 3 M.2s, PCI Express 5, for your graphics. What more do you want? Unless you want to overclock. All right, if you want to overclock, overclock's a bit of a headache sometimes. Maybe just save yourself some money and get one of these B motherboards instead of the Z. So yeah, Wi-Fi 6E, all the ports you want. It's got USB-C. Let's have a look at it. I mean, look at Asus. They give you this stuff on a cheaper motherboard, right? They do things right. I like Asus because it doesn't matter, even if you get one of their cheaper ones, you're still getting quality. Have a look at it. It looks like quality, this thing. This does not look like sort of like a budget motherboard. That looks like a high-end motherboard. All right, it's not going to have all the stuff on it as a high-end. Still got good audio, Nishikon caps there. Built-in plate here. When do you get those on sort of budget motherboards? You don't get that sort of stuff. You get these cheap tin things and you put that. No, look at this. This is the way to go. So at the end of the day, you do not have to buy a Z790 motherboard. You can get away with this if you're not going to overclock. I know it's these motherboards, they always have, BIOS updates all the time, good memory support, the best BIOS, and actually I can't believe all the features on this motherboard for being like an entry-level sort of motherboard. But I guess it's got the name Strix on it, so it's good. So anyway, yeah, save yourself some money. Buy a better CPU, buy a better cooler, buy a better RAM, get the B series if you're not going to overclock. Catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho.